Did you know that women are up to 80% more likely to develop an autoimmune condition, and that chronic stress plays a major role in this? If you've ever felt constantly fatigued, inflamed, or like your body is just working against you, this video is for you. Autoimmune conditions can range from mild things like allergies, skin conditions, thyroid problems, digestive issues, and hair loss, to more severe symptoms like arthritis or even diabetes. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 key signs that you may be more susceptible to autoimmune disease and, most importantly, 5 science-backed strategies to help you take back control of your health. Stick around to the end so you don't miss this super effective approach. Hi there, if you're new here, I'm Jess. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist specializing in cognitive health and mood balancing, and I'm also a yoga teacher. I recently came across an interview with Dr. Gabor Maté and Mel Robbins, where they discussed something pretty shocking. 80% of all autoimmune diseases happen to women. That statistic stopped me in my tracks, and today we're diving into why stress plays such a massive role in this and what you can do about it. This statistic hit me really hard because my journey into holistic anxiety and stress management started with my own healthcare. At 30 years old, after being in a toxic narcissistic relationship, I suddenly developed a severe food allergy. When I saw an allergist, they told me something shocking. It was likely triggered by stress. That was my wake-up call that my stress wasn't something I could avoid anymore. It was seriously affecting my physical health. So in this interview, Dr. Maté shared something that every woman needs to hear. In his clinical experience, he observed that women who develop autoimmune conditions often exhibit 5 specific traits. And when I heard them, I realized that I myself had struggled with every single one of them while healing my own stress and anxiety. And today, I'm sharing them with you. The first characteristic is that these women tended to put other people's emotional needs before their own. This one is huge. Women who develop autoimmune conditions are often the caretakers, the peacekeepers, the ones who make sure that everyone else is okay, even at their own expense. They ignore their own stress, suppress their own emotions, and prioritize keeping other people around them happy. But here's the thing. When you constantly put yourself last, your body starts to suffer. Chronic stress from always managing other people's emotions puts your nervous system in a constant state of fight or flight. Over time, this weakens your immune system, triggers inflammation, and if left unchecked, it can lead to a full-blown autoimmune disease. So think about it. When was the last time you put yourself first? When was the last time you said no to something that drained you? If you struggle with this, you're definitely not alone. The second trait that was noticed was that they tended to identify with duty, role, and responsibility over their own needs. This one is so real, and honestly, it's something I still struggle with. So many women are raised to believe that their worth is tied to what they do for others, whether it's being a good mother, a supportive partner, or excelling at work, or all 3. We often define ourselves by our roles, not by who we actually are or what we truly need. And let's be real, society encourages this. Women are expected to juggle everything these days: the household, the schedules, the relationships, even the unspoken emotional needs of everyone around them. It's like we're the glue holding it all together. But here's the problem. When you constantly live for others, you start to disappear in your own life. You ignore your body signals, you suppress your own needs, and over time, this stress builds up and can trigger serious health issues, including autoimmune diseases. So here's my next question. When was the last time you did something just for you without guilt? If that question is hard to answer, you're not alone. The third characteristic they talked about was that these women tended to be nice, which means that they repressed their anger in order to be accepted. This one can hit pretty deep. Women with autoimmune conditions are often the nice ones, the ones who keep the peace, avoid confrontation, and swallow their anger rather than express it. And it makes sense. We're wired for connection, for belonging. From a survival standpoint, fitting in means safety. So we learn from a young age to push down the parts of us that might make others uncomfortable, especially anger. As women, we're taught that if we aren't agreeable, we're too much. If we set boundaries, we're selfish. If we express frustration, we're difficult. And over time, we start believing that our feelings don't matter, that we should just smile, stay small, and not rock the boat. But here's the thing. Anger just doesn't disappear. When you suppress it, it turns inward. It builds up as chronic stress, inflammation, and eventually illness. The body really does keep score. So ask yourself, when was the last time you let yourself feel anger without guilt? If you don't know, it might be time to start releasing it in a healthy way. Personally, I love taking a hand towel and twisting it as hard as I can. It's such a simple way to physically move that tension out of your body. So find what works for you, but whatever you do, don't keep swallowing your anger. Your body deserves better. The next characteristic was that these women tended to believe that they are responsible for how other people feel. If you've ever felt like it's your job to make sure everyone around you is happy, you're not alone. So many women, especially those struggling with chronic stress and autoimmune issues, carry this invisible weight. And let's be honest, it's exhausting. Constantly filtering your words, anticipating reactions, and trying to avoid disappointing anyone, it's like running a never-ending emotional marathon. The big problem with this is that it leads to anxiety, decision fatigue, and burnout. Every choice, big or small, comes with a mental checklist. How will this affect them? Will they be upset? Should I just go along with what they want? You get stuck in this analysis paralysis, afraid to make the wrong move. And over time, you lose trust in yourself because your decisions are no longer based on your needs, but on what's best for everyone else. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. You can be kind, considerate, and loving without carrying the burden of making everyone else comfortable at your own expense. So here's my next question. How often do you catch yourself making choices based on how it will make others feel rather than what's actually best for you? Pay attention to that this week. You might be surprised. The last trait that Dr. Maté noticed that these women had was that they had a belief that they must never disappoint anyone. For women struggling with stress-related health issues, this one can run deep. The belief that you must keep everyone happy and never let anyone down can be so ingrained that you don't even realize that you're doing it. Over time, it can chip away at you. You start saying things like, "Oh, I don't care where we eat," or "It doesn't matter to me." Not because you actually don't care, but because you've come to learn that having preferences might inconvenience someone else. At some point, you stop checking in with yourself. You've spent so much energy making sure no one else is upset, disappointed, or uncomfortable that you've disconnected from your own wants and needs entirely. And when that happens for long enough, your body starts sending signals through stress, anxiety, or even autoimmune symptoms, trying to get your attention. If this resonates with you, stick around because later in this video, I'm going to share some ways to start shifting this pattern in a way that feels safe and realistic. Now that we've identified these traits, let's talk about how we can begin to recover from and prevent them. And the good news is that this doesn't have to be overwhelming. We're going to take small, manageable steps that build over time. So here are some natural solutions to address these tendencies that contribute to autoimmune conditions. The first trait we mentioned was putting others' needs before your own. If you find yourself constantly putting others first, it's important to recognize that you are allowed to prioritize your own needs too. In fact, doing so can significantly reduce your stress and improve your health. So here's the solution. Start with stress mapping. This is something I go into more in my free guide, but it's simple. Take 5 minutes at the end of each day to jot down moments where you felt overwhelmed or stressed, and what triggered those emotions. You'll start to recognize patterns and how often you're giving away your energy to others without considering your own needs. Over time, you can start to shift this by setting clear boundaries. Start small, like taking 5 to 10 minutes each morning just for yourself, whether it's just enjoying a cup of tea, doing some reading, or just something else that makes you feel good. Prioritize these moments to recharge. And for an extra tip, give yourself permission to take up space and reclaim your time. This isn't selfish, it's essential self-care so you can show up as your best self for the other people in your life. For the second trait, identifying with role and responsibility, many women carry the weight of their roles, like the caretaker, the planner, the manager, on their shoulders. But when we define ourselves by what we do for others, we lose sight of who we truly are. The solution to this is to begin with mindfulness. Focus on being present and grounded in each moment. Ask yourself, who am I without the title? Shift your focus from what you do to who you are. A quick practice I recommend is to take 5 deep breaths before starting your day and focus on setting one personal intention for the day, no role attached. It could be as simple as, I will listen to my body today. This small shift in perspective helps you reconnect with your true self, which is key to reducing and preventing burnout. So the third trait, suppressing anger to be nice. When we suppress anger, it builds up inside of us, manifesting in physical stress and emotional fatigue. It's crucial to create outlets for these emotions to maintain balance. A simple and effective way to release pent-up emotions is through physical movement. This could be as simple as, like I mentioned before, squeezing a hand towel. Even going for a quick walk around the block can help. Movement helps you to release that emotional charge in a healthy way, preventing it from festering and turning into chronic stress. It can also be really effective to express yourself through journaling so you can get a hold of what you're really feeling. You'd be amazed at how powerful writing down your emotions can be in helping you release anger and frustration. The fourth trait, feeling responsible for others' feelings. Carrying the responsibility of how others feel is a massive burden and can lead to decision fatigue and chronic anxiety. The solution to this is to start practicing decision-making for yourself. Ask yourself, what do I truly want in this situation? Even in small daily choices like what to eat or when to go to bed, start making decisions based on what you need rather than what will make others happy. Again, stress mapping can come in really handy here. Identify moments when you're stressed about others' emotions and take note of how you reacted. Over time, you'll start to notice where you're slipping into this pattern, and you can take a step back to reframe it. If you want some help with this, there's a link to a free guide in the description of this video. For the fifth trait of never wanting to disappoint anyone, the idea of disappointing others often comes at the expense of disappointing yourself. When we do this, we suppress our preferences, which can lead to feelings of disconnection and frustration. We can do this for so long that we actually begin to forget that we have preferences or even know what they are. The solution to this is to start rediscovering what your preferences are, even in the smallest of things. Do you prefer your coffee black or with cream? Do you enjoy the quiet morning or do you thrive in the bustle of the afternoon? These really small preferences are powerful because they remind you that you matter too. I encourage you to begin practicing self-validation. Notice when you feel the pull to people please and gently redirect your attention back to your own needs. The more you honor your preferences, the more you'll feel in control and empowered to make decisions that align with your true self. If you'd like even more tools to support this process, I dive deeper into these strategies like stress mapping, journaling, and even nutrition and supplements to support these changes in my ebook, Chaos to Calm. But remember, even the smallest steps towards honoring yourself make a huge difference. So let's recap. By becoming aware of these 5 key traits and recognizing how they show up in your life, you're hurting one step closer to reclaiming your health and your wellness. Start small with mindfulness, stress mapping, and setting some boundaries. These are tools that can transform the way you manage stress and ultimately your autoimmune health. The key is to take action, no matter how small, and keep going. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but every step you take is a step closer to feeling calm, empowered, and in control. Remember, you are not your roles, you are not your responsibilities. You are so much more than that. By honoring your own needs and making room for yourself, you'll create space for true healing. These 5 traits often lead to saying yes to the demands of the world, constantly taking on other people's stress. But here's the thing, that stress doesn't belong to you, and you don't have the capacity to fix it either. When you internalize it, it only adds to your own stress load, which over time can overwhelm your immune system, and eventually it can turn against you. In that interview, they also said, and I do agree with this, that this isn't just a gender issue, this is a cultural issue. We're taught to prioritize others, often at the cost of our own well-being. But here's the truth. You are not here to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. Your happiness, your health, and your worth do not depend on how happy or balanced the people around you are. There's a moment I'll never forget during my own burnout, right before I took stress leave during my divorce. It was actually an Oprah interview, and they were discussing betrayal. And Oprah said, I used to think the greatest pain and betrayal you could feel was when a close family member or a friend betrayed your confidence. But the worst betrayal and pain that you can feel is actually when you betray yourself. That hit me in the gut. That was my wake-up call. And I realized that for so long, I had been betraying myself by putting others' needs ahead of my own, telling myself that what I wanted didn't matter. I thought my happiness and safety depended on how happy those around me were. And I kept coming last because I put myself there. But healing started when I finally recognized my worth, when I took the time to look at my subconscious beliefs, and when I rewrote the story I had about myself. Shifting my self-identity was one of the most powerful things I did to reduce my anxiety and ultimately change my entire life. So remember, you don't have to carry everyone else's burden. By recognizing these traits and taking steps to heal, whether through mindfulness, stress mapping, setting boundaries, or just reclaiming your preferences, you are reclaiming your own power. You deserve to take care of yourself just as much as you take care of others. So what's one small change you can make today to start prioritizing yourself? Is it setting a boundary, taking a mindful moment, or even just asking yourself what you truly need? It doesn't have to be big, but every little step counts. You are worthy of peace, joy, and health. And the first step is recognizing that you deserve it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.